you ever lay in bed, eyes wide open, heart racing, wondering why peace feels so far away? What if God is closest in the moments you feel most alone? What if tonight your sleeplessness isn't a curse, but a call? Can you hear him? Stay with me. This is not just rest. It's a divine invitation. God of the night, draw near. I am weary from holding it together. I bring you the pieces I've tried to hide, the exhaustion, the anxiety, the fear I couldn't shake. Wrap me now in your unseen arms. Let this night be more than sleep. Let it be sanctuary. Speak louder than the silence. I am listening. Amen. You've been the strong one, the one who smiles when it's breaking inside, the one who carries burdens no one sees, and yet, tonight, something in your soul is whispering that strength like this cannot last. You've exhausted the mask of resilience. You've shown up, held it together, prayed while doubting, helped others while your own heart crumbled. But what if God's message tonight isn't, keep it up, but lay it down? What if the true spiritual awakening begins not when you push through, but when you let go? Psalm 91 doesn't begin with action, it begins with dwelling. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. That's not a place of performance. It's not where the strong go to prove themselves. It's where the weary go to be carried. It's the resting place for those who have nothing left to give, where presence matters more than perfection. And maybe tonight, you don't need another strategy, another plan, or another reason to keep going. Maybe all you need is to collapse safely into the arms of the one who has never asked you to be strong for him, only to be his. The pressure isn't proof of your calling. The cracks aren't signs of failure. They're reminders that you were never made to be your own refuge. God says, let me be your shelter, not your supervisor. You don't have to report for duty tonight. You just have to arrive, honestly, humbly, and held. You don't need to narrate the day one more time. You don't need to explain your sadness. You are already understood. Psalm 121:4 says, behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. That means while you fall apart, heaven stays intact. The world does not fall to pieces when you do. You are allowed to unravel in the presence of a God who holds all things together. And in that unraveling, something sacred happens. The burden lifts, not because it disappeared, but because it's no longer yours to carry alone. So take a breath. Not the kind that leads to striving, but the kind that leads to surrender. If the weight of the day still clings to your shoulders, if your heart feels heavy under the expectations no one else carries, know this: you are not alone. Not in your fatigue, not in your silence, not in your aching need to be held. Psalm 23 says, he restoreth my soul. Not when I get everything right, not when I've done enough, but when I walk through valleys, when I sit still, when I release control. Strength isn't always fire, it's often stillness. Pope Leo XIV once whispered to a weary church, strength is not loud, it is anchored. And tonight, maybe that's all God is asking, for you to stop proving and start anchoring. Anchor in his grace, anchor in his presence, anchor in the truth that being tired is not a sin. Pretending you're not, that's the trap. You don't need to pretend. You don't need to posture. You don't even need to perform. God's message today is not one of shame, but of release. Release from the false weight of perfection. Release from the fear that everything depends on you. It never did. You are not God. You are his. As you prepare for sleep, know that this night prayer is not a ritual. It's a refuge. It's where the exhausted find restoration. It's where anxiety meets assurance, where performance crumbles into peace. Let this be the place where you admit, I can't do it all, and let heaven respond. You don't have to. You were never meant to. Come undone in my hands. Let the tears fall without apology. Let the silence speak without shame. As you prepare for sleep, let the tears fall without apology. Let the silence speak without, and in this quiet space, may His presence wrap you like Psalm 91's wings of protection, not because you've earned it, but because you need it, especially when you don't feel strong. Where have I been trying to be strong without asking God for help? What would it look like to rest instead of strive tonight? Can I allow myself to be fully honest in prayer, even if it sounds messy? His strength is made perfect in my weakness, in Corinthians 12:9. He restoreth my soul. Psalm 23:3. He shall cover me with His feathers. Psalm 91:4. Tonight, let go of the need to be strong. Whisper a simple prayer. God, I surrender what I cannot carry. Be my strength when I am empty. Then lie back, breathe deep, and allow the healing to begin. He is with you. You've been living in survival mode for so long that peace feels unfamiliar. Even rest feels like a betrayal, like if you let your guard down, everything will unravel. But what if that unraveling isn't destruction, it's deliverance? What if rest isn't retreat, but return? You hear people talk about surrender, but you wonder, who will catch me if I fall? Who will carry the weight if I stop pretending I'm fine? Here's the answer. God will. Not the idea of God, not a distant memory, but the living, breathing, ever-present shepherd who never once asked you to carry this alone. His message tonight is not for your productivity, it's for your soul. He doesn't reward clenched fists and sleepless striving. He blesses those who collapse at His feet with trembling hearts and open hands. Psalm 91 was never a badge for the fearless. It's a shelter for the faint. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress. My God, in Him will I trust. Not in yourself, not in your strength, not in the illusion of control. In Him. That's where strength returns. Not because you try harder, but because you finally stop. You stop striving, you stop pretending, and you start trusting. You're tired not because you failed, but because you've tried to be everything for everyone. And maybe no one has told you this yet, but God is not disappointed in your exhaustion. He's drawn to it. He knows what it cost you to keep smiling. He knows the weight behind the words, I'm fine. He saw the moment you swallowed your tears so no one would worry. And tonight, He whispers, you don't have to be okay to be with me. You don't have to clean yourself up or organize your emotion. You don't even have to find the right words. You just have to come. Come empty. Come broken. Come like a child who knows they are loved, even when they feel undone. This is not performance. This is a homecoming. This is where the pretending ends and the presence begins. God doesn't meet you in your perfection. He meets you in your honesty. And the arms of the shepherd are still open, still strong, still waiting. Psalm 23 doesn't say you restore yourself. It says, He restoreth my soul. That's the difference between pressure and peace, between religion and relationship. God's message isn't pull it together. It's let me hold what's unraveling. His power is not looking for perfect hands. It's waiting to flood surrendered hearts. When you stop trying to be strong, you give space for divine strength to rise in you. Isaiah 40:29 says, He giveth power to the faint, and to them that have no might, He increaseth strength. That's for you, not a future version of you, not the cleaned up version. You, right now. In your weariness, the tears you fight, the fears you bury, the exhaustion you hide, all of that is seen, known, and embraced. Let that truth meet you where you are. Let it hold you while the world feels heavy. You don't have to earn this rest, you just have to receive it. So tonight, let yourself be small again. Let yourself be fragile without shame. There's strength rising in the silence, not because of you, but because God is near to those who stop pretending. His message isn't buried in noise, it's clear in stillness. Be still and know that I am God. He's still God when your chest is tight with anxiety, He's still God when your eyes are swollen from crying. He's still God when you whisper, "I don't know what else to do." That is not defeat, it's a doorway. That's where healing begins. That's where peace breathes. Let the silence speak louder than your performance. Let the stillness become sanctuary. You don't have to narrate the pain again. You don't have to prove your resilience. You only need to arrive, honestly, humbly, and held. And in this quiet space, may His presence wrap you like Psalm 91's wings of protection, not because you've earned it, but because you need it, especially when you don't feel strong. What lie have I believed about always needing to appear strong? What would surrender look like for me in this moment? How might God want to meet me in my weariness? He giveth power to the faint. Isaiah 40:29. In Him will I trust. Psalm 91:2. He restoreth my soul. Psalm 23:3. Don't wait to feel ready. Just say, "God, I'm tired. Meet me in the tiredness." Then pause. Let the night carry your ache into His arms. The God of peace isn't waiting for your performance. He's waiting for your permission to take the weight. Rest, not because it's earned, but because you are loved. You've mastered the art of appearing okay. You smile on cue, power through responsibilities, and hold space for everyone else's pain, while silence screams in your own heart. But beneath the surface, your soul is crumbling, quietly, invisibly. And maybe tonight, the thing God wants to free you from isn't just exhaustion, it's expectation. The expectation that you always have to be strong. The belief that your ability to hold it all together is what makes you worthy. But beloved, that's not truth. That's pressure dressed up as holiness. God never asked you to be the glue. He never called you to be the one who fixes everything. He called you to be His. You are not the healer. You are not the hero. You are not the one holding the world in place. You are the one being held. And tonight, He speaks not through loud demands, but quiet grace. My grace is sufficient for you. My strength is made perfect in weakness. Acts Corinthians 12:9. This isn't rebuke, it's rescue. It's the voice that finds you in the middle of your unraveling and says, "You're still mine, even here, especially here." Psalm 91 was not written for the unshakable. It was written for the ones who shake and still run to the refuge. He shall cover thee with His feathers, and under His wings shalt thou trust. That's not a call to toughness. It's a whisper of tenderness. It's the invitation of a God who wraps Himself around the soul that finally says, "I can't do this alone." That moment isn't weakness. It's worship. The world may reward your grind, your performance, your persistence, but God? He honors your surrender. He doesn't need your polished words. He welcomes your sighs. He doesn't require your composure. He draws near to your tears. And peace doesn't come through pretending. It comes through permission. Permission to let the mask fall. Permission to be real. Permission to breathe. You are not failing when you need to be held. You are not weak when you say, "I need help." That is where healing begins. That is where grace meets you. Right there, in the undone places. Psalm 23 says, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me." That's not bravado, it's belief. Not in your ability to fix yourself, but in the nearness of a shepherd who never leaves you. His presence does not demand perfection. It welcomes your humanness. It meets you in your fatigue, in your ache, in the thoughts that won't settle, in the fears you don't know how to name. This is the sacred turning point. Not when you become stronger, but when you stop pretending to be. Not when you finally rise, but when you finally rest. Because strength isn't something you earn. It's something you receive. And it begins the moment you let yourself be small enough to need it. So breathe, inhale grace, exhale pressure. You are not the one holding it all together. God is. He sees your invisible battles. He hears the cry behind your silence, and he responds with love, not lecture. Let your bed become an altar. Let your weariness become a prayer. You don't have to fix everything before you sleep. You only have to surrender, because you are not failing. You are finally falling into the arms that were always strong enough to carry you. Let his presence replace the pressure. Let his word replace the weariness. Let his grace replace the guilt. You are not alone. You are not too much. You are not behind. You are his. And tonight, that is enough. What part of my life have I tried to manage in my own strength? Can I allow God to meet me in my unraveling? Where do I need to receive grace instead of giving more effort? My strength is made perfect in weakness. He shall cover thee with his feathers. Psalm 91:4. I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Take one brave breath and say, God, I surrender my strength. Be enough for me, then rest. Not because everything is fixed, but because you are finally in the presence of the one who holds all things together, even when you don't. Let his presence do what pressure never could, bring peace. There is a moment when your body is still, but your soul keeps running. You lie in bed, exhausted, yet your heart rehearses every pressure, every demand, every silent scream no one else hears. You wonder, will it all fall apart if I stop being strong? You've carried so much for so long, the thought of putting it down feels terrifying. But here is God's gentle whisper tonight. You were not made to carry what only he can sustain. Even the strongest hands shake. Even the bravest souls break. But when they do, it is not weakness, it's invitation. An invitation to come home to the shelter, where you don't have to hold anything up. A return to the secret place, to the shadow of the Almighty, where striving ends and shelter begins. Psalm 91 doesn't say, he who performs shall be safe. It says, he who dwells. To dwell means to remain, to stop, to come in from the storm and rest under wings not your own. He is my refuge and my fortress. My God, in him will I trust. Not in your perfection, not in your plan, not in your reputation, in him. Psalm 23 is not a song of the invincible. It's a prayer from the valley. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. That means God doesn't wait until your war is over. He meets you while it rages. He lays out peace in the middle of pressure. He restores not after the exhaustion, but in the middle of it. This isn't about rising above pain. It's about resting beneath his wings. This is not a victory lap. It's a seat at the table of survival. Not a performance, but a place to collapse. Because the night prayer is a turning point, not from weakness to strength in your own power, but from independence to intimacy. You've been surviving on adrenaline, performing strength, speaking faith while feeling empty. But survival is not surrender, and surrender is not weakness. It's wisdom. It's handing over what was never yours to carry. The need to be the glue, the lie that peace is earned, the pressure to prove you're okay. God's strength doesn't wait for your perfection. It moves when you finally say, I can't anymore. And in that collapse, he is tender. Pope Leo XIV once said, strength that never kneels is just pride in disguise. What a holy reversal. True strength is not how much you hold up. It's how deeply you're willing to be held, to say, God, I'm not okay, but I trust you are. That's the sacred exchange. Your pressure for his peace, your anxiety for his anchoring, your exhaustion for his everlasting arms. Peace is not a pill. It's not a checklist. It's not something you earn by doing enough. Peace is a person, and his name is Jesus. He meets you here, not at your peak, but in your pit. And he doesn't rebuke your unraveling, he redeems it. He doesn't wait until you recover, he restores you right in the burnout. And he does it not with lectures, but with love. Not with pressure, but presence. Let that truth soften what's hard in you tonight. So breathe, let the silence speak what words cannot. Let the darkness hold no threat, because the light of the world is still awake. Let Psalm 91 be more than a verse. It's your invitation to exhale. Let Psalm 23 be more than comfort. It's your compass back to stillness. And let God be more than a theology. Let Him be your refuge. He is not watching to see if you hold it all together. He is waiting to hold you. Whisper this tonight. God, I surrender the pressure. Meet me in the silence. Then lie back, release the script you've been performing, and rest in the truth. You are loved even when you're undone. You are not the one holding it all together. He is. What if I feared would fall apart if I stopped pretending to be strong? How has God shown up for me in the middle of pressure before? Where is He inviting me to surrender control tonight? He is my refuge and my fortress. Psalm 91:2. Thou preparest a table before me. Psalm 23:5. In quietness and trust shall be your strength. Isaiah 30:15 paraphrased. Whisper this tonight. God, I surrender the pressure. Meet me in the silence. Then lie back, release the script you've been performing, and rest in the truth. You are loved even when you're undone. You are not the one holding it all together. He is. Somewhere in the quiet of this night, hearts are breaking without sound. Not just yours, not just those you know, but children caught in chaos, mothers mourning what once was, fathers praying in silence, souls torn by storms they never asked for. Before we tend to your heart, we pause. God of mercy, hold the ones the world overlooks. Shelter the forgotten, comfort the displaced, feed the hungry, light the darkness, heal the wounded. You are not the God of one side. You are the God of restoration. Let peace fall like gentle rain where violence has raged. Let angels stand where children sleep. Let your justice rise like the morning, and your mercy cover the earth like the sea. Amen. And now, back to your heart, because it matters too. Maybe your ache isn't on the evening news. Maybe your wounds aren't visible, but they're still real. And tonight, the God of all comfort draws near, the one who does not measure pain by headlines, the one who sees the tears behind your smile. You've been showing up when no one knows the cost. You've been strong for others while quietly falling apart, and God sees it all. He sees the fatigue in your body, the spinning in your mind, the storm in your heart. Psalm 91 promises He shall give His angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways. Not just the dramatic ways, the hidden ones, the ones no one applauds. He covers your quiet obedience, your invisible sacrifices, your whispered prayers. Sometimes the battlefield isn't war-torn ground. It's a bedroom filled with pillows soaked in thoughts that won't stop. And in that silence, God's message breaks through the noise. Let me catch you, not keep proving, not stay strong. Just let me carry what you've been holding alone. Because you were never meant to hold it all. You are not the savior, you are the beloved, and that changes everything. You've believed that rest is something you have to earn, that peace is for when things are perfect. But peace is not the fruit of control, it's the result of presence, God's presence. Psalm 23 says, Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Not your effort, not your endurance, His nearness, His strength, His unfailing love. That's what calms the chaos. That's what makes sleep possible, even when life isn't resolved. Dr. Anita Phillips says, the soul cannot heal where it cannot rest. And God isn't asking you to collapse as a last resort. He's inviting you to rest as an act of trust. Let go of the need to be okay. Let go of the myth that you must fix everything before you exhale. The weight you carry is real, but so is the one who carries you. So tonight, breathe, not as survival, but as surrender. Let your bed become an altar. Let your tiredness become a prayer. Whisper, God, I am not strong, but I am yours. You don't have to finish the to-do list. You don't have to find the perfect words. You just have to rest. Let peace, not pressure, have the final word. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. And you are not failing. You are covered. You are carried. You are completely, fiercely, eternally loved. Sleep not as someone overwhelmed, but as someone who finally believes they are safe. Where have I been silently suffering and afraid to speak it? How can I honor both my pain and others without shame? What would it look like to receive God's comfort without earning it? He shall give his angels charge over thee. Psalm 91:11. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Psalm 23:4. I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. Hebrews 13:5. Before you close your eyes, whisper, God, I am not strong, but I am yours. Then rest, not because the world is quiet, but because your heart finally is. Let peace, not pressure, have the final word tonight. You've worn strength like armor for so long that you've forgotten how to take it off. The smile, the productivity, the support for everyone else, it's all there, all day. But when night falls, the mask slips, and under it, there's a soul that's weary. Not just physically tired, but soul deep exhausted. Tired of pretending, tired of performing, tired of believing that you're only as valuable as your ability to hold it all together. And God's message tonight is holy in its simplicity. Lay down the armor. Come unguarded to me. You were never meant to be your own protection. The strength the world demands isn't the strength God gives. His strength begins where yours ends. His arms open when your grip lets go. Psalm 91 doesn't command performance, it invites presence. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Not fight, dwell, be still, breathe. It's a sanctuary, not a battlefield. No sword in hand, no pressure to be unbreakable, just shadow, just safety, just the quiet comfort of being covered. And Psalm 23 echoes that invitation. He leadeth me beside the still water. God isn't waiting for you to collapse so he can catch you. He's been whispering all along. Rest now. Not as punishment, but as provision, as protection from becoming a version of yourself he never asked you to be. Invincible. You are not a machine. You are a soul, and your soul is crying for stillness. D.D. Jakes once said, collapse comes when we ignore the whisper of rest. And maybe this moment, this bedtime prayer, is your whisper, a holy warning wrapped in love. Stop before it's too late, because surrender is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's saying, I need you, God, not tomorrow, not when I feel more spiritual, but now, in this undone, unraveling moment. So let the armor fall off, let the sighs come, let the tears gather, let your breath deepen. Not as defense, but as trust. Meditation is not about emptying yourself. It's about filling yourself with what's always been true. God is enough, even when you are not. He is not frustrated by your weariness. He is not grading your performance. He is offering himself. Let tonight be sacred. Let stillness become sanctuary. As you lie down, don't brace yourself. Trust yourself to him. Lay down the weight. Stop trying to be your own refuge. Let your heart be held. Let your chest rise and fall without fear. Let your soul remember what it's like to simply be, without pressure, without armor, without apology. You are not the one holding the world. You are not responsible for everyone else's peace. You are loved, not because you keep going, but because you belong to the God who watches while you rest. His eyes are on you, not with judgment, but with joy. Not with disappointment, but with deep delight. You don't have to hold it all. He's already holding you. Where am I carrying pressure that God never asked me to hold? What would letting go of my spiritual armor look like? Can I trust God to hold what I lay down? He that dwelleth in the secret place shall abide under the shadow. Psalm 91:1, He maketh me to lie down, He leadeth me. Psalm 23:2, My grace is sufficient for thee. As you prepare for sleep, whisper this prayer. God, I'm laying down the armor. Be my rest tonight. Then breathe, then rest. Not because everything is fixed, but because your heart is finally home. Let peace, not pressure, have the final word. There's a kind of exhaustion that seeps deeper than your bones. It drips into the corners of your soul. It's not just physical, it's spiritual, emotional, invisible. The kind of tired that sleep can't fix. The kind that comes from constantly showing up, holding space, giving, pouring. While no one sees you unraveling, and when you finally stop moving, it hits like a wave. You're not just tired, you're spent. You've poured out for everyone else, held space, stayed kind, but inside you're quietly falling apart. And even then, something inside whispers, don't fall apart, be strong, be enough. But Psalm 23 wasn't written for the flawless, it was written for the fragile. He restoreth my soul, not he rewards my effort, not he applauds my resilience, he restores. That's what love does. It restores what pressure has depleted. God isn't waiting for you to hold it together. He's waiting for you to come undone in his arms. He's not disappointed by your unraveling. He's drawn to it. God's message tonight isn't another assignment. It's an invitation to less pretending, less spinning, less grasping for control. Because the one who holds the stars is also holding your breaking heart. He's not ashamed of your emptiness. He enters it. Isaiah 40:29 says, He giveth power to the faint, and to them that have no might he increaseth strength. To those with no might, not a little, none. That's where his power lives. Not in your striving, but in your surrender. You don't have to hold it together for him to hold you. You don't have to organize your pain before you pray. You don't have to explain what you can't understand. He already knows, and still he says, come. That's what this night prayer is, a sacred return to the God who doesn't demand performance but welcomes presence. A space where being empty doesn't disqualify you, it draws heaven close. You don't have to package your feelings into perfect words. You don't have to justify your sadness or rehearse strength for God. You simply show up, as you are, as empty as you feel. That's where restoration begins, not in productivity but in permission. Dr. Anita Phillips calls it soul permission, the grace to feel without guilt, to rest without apology, to trust without needing answers. And in this sacred space, God becomes home again. Not just a concept, but your refuge. The one who says, you don't have to be unshakable to be safe. That's what Psalm 91 promises. He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. That's not just poetry, it's protection. It's a divine invitation to stop performing strength and start receiving grace. You don't have to prove yourself. You only have to be still enough to be held. So exhale. Not because the to-do list is finished, not because you've conquered the day, but because you are not alone. You never were. The pressure to keep holding it together was never yours to begin with. Let God take the weight. Let peace replace pressure. Let silence become safety. Let your sighs become sacred. He restoreth my soul. That's not a metaphor. It's a miracle. A miracle that begins when pretending ends. So as you prepare for sleep, breathe deeply. Let stillness be your surrender. Let your bed be an altar. Whisper this, God, I don't have the strength tonight, but I trust you do. Then rest, not in what you've accomplished, but in who He is. You are not your exhaustion. You are not your performance. You are His, and He restores. In silence, in sleep, in stillness. Even now, what emotional weight have I been silently carrying? How has my idea of strength kept me from being honest with God? Where do I need to allow God to restore my soul? He restoreth my soul. Psalm 23:3. He giveth power to the faint. Isaiah 40:29. Under his wings shalt thou trust. Psalm 91:4. Before you sleep, speak this aloud or in silence. God, I don't have the strength tonight, but I trust you do. Then rest, not in what you've done, but in the arms of the one who never stops restoring. Let peace begin where pretending ends. You've been the calm in everyone else's storm, the anchor when others are adrift, the one who reassures, comforts, and holds it all together when everything feels like it's falling apart. But now, in the silence of your room, when the lights go out and the noise dies down, you can't escape the quiet unraveling inside your soul. It doesn't scream, it sighs. It doesn't break loudly, it frays slowly, thread by thread. You stare at the ceiling, replaying conversations, decisions, regrets, and you wonder if it's weakness to admit that you're not okay. But God's message tonight is not correction, it's invitation. Invitation to stop pretending, to stop performing, and to simply be held. This isn't a spiritual test. It's not about earning peace. It's about stepping into it. This night prayer isn't a stage. It's a refuge for your undone heart. Psalm 91 was not written for the unshaken warrior. It was written for the sleepless, for the anxious, for the soul weary of silent battles. He shall deliver thee from the noisome pestilence. The word noisome means destructive. And sometimes the most destructive voice isn't the loud one from outside. It's the quiet one inside your mind that says, you should be stronger, you're failing, you can't let go. But those are not the words of God. His voice is steadier, kinder. He whispers, you are mine, you are safe, you can stop pretending now. Psalm 23 echoes that truth in its gentleness. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. You may feel empty, but he calls you anointed. You may feel drained, but he pours anyway. God doesn't wait for you to get it together. He meets you in the unraveling. Meditation tonight isn't about mastering your thoughts. It's about releasing the ones that never came from God. Release the lie that you have to be everyone's answer. Release the pressure that says everything will fall apart if you stop holding it together. The truth is, God never asked you to be unbreakable. He asked you to be His. Lisa Bevere reminds us, God isn't asking you to be strong. He's asking you to be His. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. You are not broken for needing rest. You are not failing for reaching your limit. You are not less spiritual for feeling overwhelmed. This is not your breaking. It's your becoming. God builds on surrendered soil, not on forced strength. You don't have to keep managing what's beyond your capacity. You only need to lean into the arms that never asked you to carry it all. And when your prayers feel like whispers, when your hands tremble with fatigue, when your voice won't come at all, God still hears. Just a sigh is enough. Just a whisper of help me touches heaven. The God of Psalm 91 doesn't slumber. He watches, He keeps, He covers. And that's your hope tonight. Not that you are strong, but that He is awake and near and endlessly faithful. He speaks peace into the spaces your strength has abandoned. He silences the storm, not just the one around you, but the one inside you. And that name, the name above every name, still has power to calm your chaos. Jesus is not distant from your distress. He is in the room, in the silence, in the ache. And He's not asking for more of you. He's offering more of Himself. What thoughts or lies have been stealing my peace at night? How can I make space for honesty with God tonight? Where is He inviting me to trade exhaustion for presence? She'll deliver thee from the noisome pestilence. Psalm 91:3. Thou anointest my head with oil. Psalm 23:5. My cup runneth over. Psalm 23:5. Lie still and breathe this truth. God, I'm not strong enough tonight, and I don't have to be. Let His presence quiet the pressure. Let the storm inside begin to still. You are safe now. You are held. And in this stillness, you will be restored. You've carried it all: responsibilities, expectations, invisible pain, and told yourself that falling apart would mean failure. But what if falling apart isn't the end? What if it's the beginning of healing? What if it's not weakness, but worship? God's message tonight isn't prove your worth, it's bring your wounds. And that changes everything. The pressure to be perfect was never his idea. The expectation to hold it all in wasn't his voice. Psalm 91 doesn't celebrate the unbreakable, it shelters the undone. He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. His presence isn't a reward for performance, it's a refuge for surrender. You don't need to have it all together, you just need to come honestly. You've mistaken endurance for spiritual depth and silence for bravery, but God is not impressed by your quiet suffering. He is moved by your invitation. Let him into the anxiety you hide, the weariness you downplay, the guilt you can't shake. You don't need bigger faith, you need more honest faith. Faith that says, I'm tired, Lord. I'm overwhelmed, but I want you close. And that whisper? That's enough. He doesn't need a polished speech, just the truth. Psalm 23 doesn't say, you guide yourself. It says, he leadeth me beside the still waters. That means, even in your confusion, he's not waiting at the finish line. He's walking with you now. Romans 8:28 promises that God works all things together for good. That includes the moments you wish weren't part of your story, the setbacks, the breakdowns, the nights like this when exhaustion outweighs hope. And still, he is working, not despite your mess, but through it. God does not build on your false strength, he builds on your surrendered soil. Meditation tonight isn't about mastering silence, it's about allowing space for honesty, for presence, for the real you to meet the real God. Dr. Anita Phillips says emotional honesty is not weakness, it's worship. When you exhale your fear, your shame, your fatigue, you are not giving up. You are giving it to him. So breathe. Let go of the clenched fists and open your hands. This isn't performance, it's presence. This isn't about resolving every issue. It's about resting in the one who already sees, already knows, and still chooses you. He doesn't love you because you're strong. He loves you because you're his. And tonight, he invites you to trade exhaustion for intimacy, to stop pretending, to come closer. This is your sacred exhale. This is where restoration begins, not with your striving, but with your surrender. You don't have to hold it all together. You just have to let him hold you. Where have I felt like falling apart but kept pushing forward anyway? What would it look like to trust God with the pieces of my heart? Can I see my exhaustion as a doorway to intimacy with him? Shall cover thee. Under his wings shalt thou trust. Psalm 91:4. He leadeth me beside the still waters. Psalm 23:2. All things work together for good. Romans 8:28. Tonight, take off the armor. Whisper, God, I give you what I can't hold anymore. Then rest, not because the world is fixed, but because your soul is safe. You are not failing, you are falling into grace, and grace will hold. There's a moment, often right before sleep, when your soul finally says what it's been trying to bury all day. I can't keep doing this. And as raw as that truth feels, it's not a failure. It's sacred. It's the doorway to God's strength. You've spent so long believing that breaking means disappointing someone. But what if breaking is how you finally let God in? Scripture doesn't ask you to push through it. It invites you to lay it down. My strength is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. That's not a call to try harder. It's an invitation to stop trying to be enough and just come, exactly as you are. Weary, unfinished, quiet. And in that stillness, you discover the strength of the one who never asked you to carry what he died to lift. Psalm 91 was never meant to be a battle cry for the flawless. It's a lullaby for the ones who are barely holding on. He shall deliver thee, he shall cover thee. His truth shall be thy shield, not your effort, not your control, his truth. And his truth says, you are not your strength, you are his child, which means you're allowed to let go, allowed to sleep without solving everything allowed to stop pretending and just breathe. Lisa Bevere said, God doesn't need your strength, he wants your surrender. And that's the essence of this night prayer. Not striving, but surrender. Not control, but trust. Not pressure, but peace. Real peace. The kind that only comes when you stop performing and start resting in who he is. Psalm 23 doesn't speak to the flawless, it speaks to the worn. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. That means even this day, the one that felt like too much, the one filled with disappointment, doubt, or silence. He didn't abandon you in your exhaustion, he was following you through it. And now that the noise is quiet, he says what your soul has needed to hear all day. You are loved in your emptiness. You are not failing. You are falling into my arms. That isn't poetic fluff. That's the steady, eternal reality of grace. You didn't miss him today. He followed you into this very moment, into this breath, into this room. He doesn't need you to get it together. He just wants to be near. This night prayer is not for the visibly broken. It's for the secretly breaking. For the one who showed up with a smile and crumbled in private. For the one who kept going all day but feels undone now. And here, in the quiet, God doesn't demand words. He speaks first. You are mine. You are safe. You can rest now. Pope Leo XIV once wrote, God never asked for perfection. He asked for proximity. And you've come close. You've stopped. You've listened. That's surrender. That's trust. And that's enough. Peace doesn't come because you earned it. It comes because he brings it. Gently. Quietly. Faithfully. Just like he promised. What part of me have I been trying to fix when God wants to hold it? Can I believe that surrender is stronger than control? How has God already been following me with mercy today? My strength is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. His truth shall be thy shield. Psalm 91, verse 4. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me. Psalm 23:6. Say this as your head meets the pillow. God, I surrender what I can't manage. Be what I cannot be tonight. Then let go. Let the weight fall. Let peace meet you where performance ends. Sleep not because you finished the day well, but because you're not alone in what's unfinished. You've made it through another day, but not without cost. You smiled through the ache. You answered when you had nothing left to say. You kept going when everything in you begged for pause, and now the stillness reveals what you've hidden under your strength, the ache beneath the effort, the fatigue beneath the faithfulness, and you wonder, am I allowed to stop? The answer is not elusive, it's sacredly simple. Yes, you are allowed to stop. You are invited to rest. You are called to surrender. You've confused faithfulness with unbreakable strength, but real faithfulness doesn't begin with performance, it begins with dependence. Psalm 91 doesn't say those who never falter shall be protected. It says he that dwelleth in the secret place shall abide, not hustle, not prove, abide. And tonight, abiding is your act of faith, not pushing, not producing, just being. You are not held because you held it all together. You are held because he never lets go. Psalm 23 is not a hymn for the victorious. It's a balm for the burdened. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Not control me, not push me forward. Comfort me. The shepherd doesn't stand at a distance waiting for you to get it together. He walks beside your weary soul. He sees the silent tears. He feels the weight you carried in secret. And he doesn't ask you to keep walking when you can barely stand. He draws closer. His comfort is not earned. It's given, freely, gently, consistently. Tonight, your job is not to fix yourself for prayer. You don't need the right words. You don't need the right posture. You just need to show up honestly. Dr. Anita Phillips says, "Healing flows where honesty is allowed to breathe, so breathe. Whisper what you've held back all day. God, I'm tired of being strong." And He won't correct you. He'll cover you. This night prayer isn't a ritual to perfect. It's a safe place to release. A moment to admit what your soul already knows. You weren't made to carry everything. You were made to be carried. Real strength doesn't begin with trying harder. It begins with surrender. And surrender is not weakness. It's wisdom. It's the holy decision to stop pretending and start resting. Romans 8:28 is not just a pretty phrase. It's a solid foundation. All things work together for good, even this weariness, even this unraveling, even this fragile moment under dim light and heavy eyes. Let yourself receive the gentleness you extend to everyone else. Let God's kindness break through the noise of pressure. Let peace interrupt your inner critic. You don't have to be better by now. You just have to be here. And you are. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not too much. You are beloved. God doesn't need your perfection. He wants your proximity. And you've drawn near. You're listening. You've stopped running. That's what surrender looks like. And in that space, God shows up not with demands, but with presence. Peace isn't passive. It's not the absence of effort. It's the arrival of God Himself. So tonight, don't fall asleep because everything is complete. Sleep because you are complete in Him. Rest because God is already at work in the silence. Trust that nothing is falling apart in His hands. Breathe. Let go. Let yourself be held. Where have I confused strength with performance? Can I let God comfort me without fixing me first? What would it look like to simply abide tonight? He that dwelleth in the secret place shall abide. Psalm 91:1. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Psalm 23:4. All things work together for good. Romans 8:28. Whisper this before sleep. God, I've tried. Now I'm tired. Be near in this stillness. Then release what you were never meant to carry. Not because everything is done, but because you are done performing. You are not escaping pressure. You are returning to peace. And peace is not silence. It is the presence of God Himself, covering you as you sleep. You are safe. You are seen. You are not alone. You've been bracing for so long that your body no longer remembers what it feels like to relax. Even now, in the quiet, you find yourself scanning for the next burden, the next role to fill, the next thing that could go wrong. You've been on for so many people, holding it together while something inside you quietly unravels. And beneath the surface, a fear whispers, if I stop performing, will everything fall apart? Will I still be loved if I'm not strong? But tonight, let God's truth interrupt that fear. You are not loved because you hold it all together. You are loved because God is love, and He has never required your perfection. Psalm 91 begins with this quiet promise. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Not hustle, not impress, just dwell. Just stay close. That's all He's asking. And that's where peace begins. Pope Leo XIV said, "Strength is not the roar, it's the root." Maybe that's what God is showing you tonight. Not the strength that performs, but the strength that remains. Not the faith that roars, but the faith that rests. Psalm 23 says, He leadeth me beside the still waters. That is where He leads. Not into burnout, but into stillness. And if you've been distant from that stillness, you're not disqualified. You're being gently called back. The shepherd doesn't scold your weariness. He walks with it. He comforts you in it. His rod and his staff are not tools of pressure. They are signs of presence. He leads you back to peace, not by demanding more, but by restoring what you've poured out. That is real strength. That is holy surrender. And tonight, this night prayer asks nothing from you except honesty. Not more effort, not perfection, just presence. Just the quiet courage to unclench your hands and let God hold what you've been gripping. Let meditation be more than a mental exercise. Let it become your posture, a posture of being known, a posture of being held. You may feel undone, but God sees someone becoming more real, more rooted, more free. And in that freedom, you'll discover that the strength you were trying to earn was always waiting in surrender. You are not behind. You are not too much. You are not failing. You are growing. You are healing. You are safe. So let yourself breathe without guilt. Let yourself release without apology. This isn't weakness. It's worship. It's the sacred whisper, God, I don't know how to fix this, but I trust you with it. That moment, that honesty, is holy ground. That's where anxiety loses its grip. That's where divine rest begins. You don't have to carry the image anymore. You don't have to be the answer. Let Psalm 91 be your shield. Let Psalm 23 be your rhythm. Let God's mercy be the breath you didn't know you were holding. And tonight, sleep not because everything's finished, but because you are already fully seen and fully loved. Even in your letting go, what have I believed about love being conditional on strength? How is God redefining strength for me tonight? Can I let go of control and trust that stillness is not failure, but that dwelleth shall abide under the shadow? Psalm 91:1. He leadeth me beside the still waters. Psalm 23:2. My strength is made perfect in weakness. Psalm 2 through Corinthians 12:9. Before you fall asleep, pray this: God, I release the image I've tried to maintain. Anchor me in what's true. Then rest, not in what's still undone, but in the deep, unshakable truth. You are loved even in your letting go, and the shepherd is still guiding, even now, even here. Even you. You've been bracing for so long your body forgot what peace feels like. Even now, in the quiet of night, your mind stays alert, scanning for the next burden, the next problem, the next expectation to meet. You've been on for everyone else, holding space, managing emotions, carrying invisible weight with a steady face, and underneath all of it, a fear circles. If I stop, will everything fall apart? If I'm not strong, will I still be loved? But tonight, right here, God's voice speaks deeper than the fear. Not a rebuke, not a command, a comfort. You are not loved because of what you carry. You are loved because I am. You don't have to hold it all together. You don't have to earn your place. Psalm 91 opens with a promise, not a prerequisite. He that dwelleth in the secret place shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. That's not about performance, it's about presence. Stay close, that's enough. And when you can't stay strong, God doesn't walk away, He draws closer. He doesn't look for proof of your resilience. He looks at your surrendered heart and says, "This is where I begin." Pope Leo XIV once said, "Strength is not the roar, it's the root." Maybe real strength isn't found in holding it all together, but in finally letting go. Psalm 23 echoes that mercy. He leadeth me beside the still waters, not toward the noise, not into the grind, but into rest. And if you've drifted from stillness, you're not failing. You're being gently led back. The shepherd doesn't demand from your fatigue, he comforts it. His rod and staff don't control, they guide, they protect. They stay with you when your own strength runs dry. There's another lie God wants to dismantle tonight. The lie that says, if I still feel it, I must be doing something wrong. But your emotions aren't a sign of failure. They are evidence that your soul is alive. Psalm 23 was not written from the mountaintop. It was born in the valley. Though I walk through the valley, thou art with me. Not above the grief, not after the breakdown. In it, God is not waiting for you to be composed. He is near in your ache. Psalm 91 doesn't say, he that never feels shall be protected. It says, he that dwells shall abide. And tonight you are dwelling, even as you feel deeply, especially as you feel deeply. You are not failing. You are feeling. And that's human. That's holy. So this night prayer isn't about rising above what you feel. It's about resting within it. Let your breathing be your prayer. Let your ache be your offering. You don't have to numb it. You don't have to fix it. Just name it. Hand it over. Trust that the shepherd is not afraid of your sorrow. He is near to the brokenhearted. He doesn't need you to be cheerful. He's here for the real you, the tired you, the tearful you, the barely holding on you. You don't have to be cheerful to be cherished. You don't have to be strong to be safe. You just have to be here. And where have I believed that I had to hide my pain to be loved? How is God showing me that my sensitivity is sacred? What would it feel like to let my tears be worshipped? He that dwelleth shall abide under the shadow. Psalm 91:1. He leadeth me beside the still waters. Psalm 23:2. He is near to the brokenhearted. Psalm 34:18. Before sleep, whispered this, God, I feel more than I know how to hold, but I trust you will hold me. Then rest, not because you've reached peace, but because peace has reached you. You are safe, you are seen, you are held, and the shepherd is still guiding. You felt like the glue, holding things together at work, at home, in relationships, but no one sees the silent cost. No one sees the inner dialogue that says, if I let go, everything will fall apart. You've come to believe that your strength is what holds your world together. But what if that's not true? What if it's not you holding everything, but God holding you? Tonight, He invites you to shift that weight, not because you've failed, but because you were never meant to carry it alone. Psalm 91 speaks this over you. He shall give His angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways. While you sleep, He watches. While you rest, He works. While you fall apart, He holds you together. And if that lie has taken root, that it all depends on you, God gently pulls it out by the root tonight. You are not the one holding the world. You are the one being held. You've placed so much pressure on yourself to be everything for everyone, but no one can live under constant demand without eventually collapsing. And when the collapse feels near, that's not failure. It's an invitation to grace. God's message today is not keep holding on. It's let me hold you. It's not your endurance that keeps you loved. It's His everlasting arms. Psalm 23 whispers this truth. Thou art with me. That's it. Not thou art impressed by me. Not thou art requiring more from me. Simply with me. Presence is God's promise, not perfection. His rod and His staff aren't proof of pressure, they're promises of protection. He doesn't walk behind you, monitoring your pace. He walks beside you, matching your steps, steadying your knees, comforting your confusion. Collapse is not weakness, it's the body telling the truth your mouth was too afraid to say. And God hears it. He honors it. He steps in to carry it. This night prayer is for the one whose heart races when the house goes quiet, for the one who smiles during the day and sobs when no one is watching. Meditation tonight is not a technique, it's a surrender. Let your breath be a prayer. Let your silence be a confession. Let your tears be an offering. You don't need answers. You don't need strength. You just need willingness. Willingness to stop. Willingness to be seen. Willingness to fall into the truth that God is already carrying what you've been pretending doesn't hurt. Let meditation become your posture. Not a performance to master, but a space to fall into. You don't have to numb what you feel. You just have to name it. You just have to hand it over. Let yourself be the one who no longer performs, just the one who is present, just the one who is held. Lisa Bevere once said, "When you stop trying to hold it together, you discover who's been holding you all along." That's the invitation tonight. Release the performance. Let go of the guilt. Let the soft voice of God replace the loud demands of anxiety. You don't need a resolution tonight. You need a refuge. And you have one. His name is Jesus. His posture is always open arms. His timing is now. Let God hold what you've denied. Let him carry what you've overmanaged. Let him comfort what you've learned to silence. Because he's not impressed by your ability to carry, he's moved by your willingness to rest. What if healing looks like letting someone else carry the weight for once? What if strength means saying, "I can't do this alone anymore," and knowing you were never supposed to? You were not made to carry the world. You were made to be carried by the one who can. What have I believed depends on me that actually belongs to God? Can I trust that letting go won't lead to failure, but to freedom? What would it feel like to let God hold me emotionally, not just spiritually? "And shall give his angels charge over thee." Psalm 91, verse 11. "Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me." Psalm 23, verse 4. "Casting all your care upon him, for he careth for you." Psalm 1 Peter 5, 7. Tonight, whisper this prayer. "God, I've been the glue, but I'm tired. Hold me now." Then lie still and let go. Not of hope, but of pressure. You were never meant to be the one who holds it all. You were meant to be held. The one who holds the universe is holding you now. Let that be enough. You've spent so much of your life believing that God's love increases when you perform well and decreases when you're weary. But that's not the gospel. That's pressure wearing a religious mask. Tonight, let that lie fall away, because God's message isn't do more. It's come rest. He's not calling you to impress him. He's calling you to trust him, and trust looks like surrender. Surrender looks like rest. Rest looks like saying, "I can't do this anymore," and believing that heaven doesn't turn away but draws near. There are nights when the silence feels heavier than the noise ever did, when the shadows in your mind loom larger than the ones on the walls. And in those moments, you don't need a stronger will, you need a softer landing. That landing is the arms of a God who isn't watching from a distance, but kneeling beside you, whispering, "I'm still here." Psalm 91 begins with a posture, not a performance. "He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High," not "he that excels" or "he that achieves," but "he that dwells." Dwelling is not about arrival, it's about presence. It's not something you earn, it's where you return. And when the darkness presses in, God doesn't ask you to shine brighter, he calls you to stay close, to be sheltered under wings that don't fail, to trust a covering that doesn't require perfection. And Psalm 23 reminds us that God doesn't just suggest rest, he insists on it. "He maketh me to lie down." That's not passive, it's protective. Because he knows your soul can't run on adrenaline forever. He knows your strength was never meant to be your source. He knows how exhausted you really are, even when you don't admit it. This night prayer is your sacred pause. It's not the end of your spiritual journey, it's the heartbeat of it. It's where you remember that being loved by God was never about being impressive. It was always about being present. Tonight's meditation isn't about doing it right. It's about receiving. Receiving the truth that even your unraveling is holy, when it happens in the hands of God. When you're too tired to be strong, He becomes your shelter. When your faith feels too small, He meets you with mercy. When all you have is silence and sighs, He fills the gaps with grace. D.D. Jakes once said, "God doesn't bless who you pretend to be, He blesses who you are." And who you are tonight is not too much, not too far behind, not forgotten. You are enough, because He is near. So let the performance end. Let the lights dim not only in your room but in your soul. Let the constant inner narrative, "I'm not doing enough, praying enough, believing enough," be silenced by one simple truth. God is enough for you, in you, with you, even in the shadows. The heaviness of this night does not scare Him. He's walked darker valleys. He is hovering with comfort. You don't have to carry the weight of strength anymore. You just have to be carried. As your head touches the pillow, say this: God, I don't need to do more. I need to dwell. Then rest, not because you've finished everything, but because you are already fully loved. God's message tonight is clear. Come as you are. Come. Rest. What habits have led me to equate God's love with my performance? Can I receive rest tonight without guilt? How is God redefining spiritual strength in my life? Psalm 91. Shall abide. Psalm 91:1. He maketh me to lie down. Psalm 23:2. Come unto me, and I will give you rest. Matthew 11:28. As your head touches the pillow, say, God, I don't need to do more. I need to dwell. Then rest, not because the darkness is gone, but because you are no longer in it alone. You are not forgotten. You are not failing. You are dwelling. And in that sacred stillness, grace begins to breathe again. There are nights when the silence feels heavier than the noise ever did, when the shadows in your mind loom larger than the ones on the walls, and though the world around you sleeps, your heart races, your thoughts spiral, and your soul feels stretched thin. You've spent so much of your life thinking God's love is measured by your momentum, that if you keep performing, producing, persevering, then He'll draw near. But that's not the gospel. That's exhaustion in religious disguise. God's message isn't do more, it's come rest. He doesn't need your perfect faith. He welcomes your honest fatigue. And that weariness you're feeling right now, it's not weakness. It's an invitation. It's the holy whisper of your heart finally saying, I can't do this anymore. And heaven responding, you were never meant to. Psalm 91 opens not with a command to strive, but with an invitation to abide. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Dwelling isn't about performance. It's about presence. It's not something you earn. It's where you return. When the darkness presses in, God doesn't ask you to shine brighter. He calls you to stay close, to be sheltered under wings that don't fail. And when even trust feels like too much, Psalm 23 gently meets you with this promise. He maketh me to lie down. Not He asks, not He suggests, He makes. Because He knows your soul wasn't designed to survive on adrenaline. He knows your strength is limited. And He doesn't shame you for it. He shepherds you through it. This night prayer isn't a checklist. It's a clearing, a sacred pause in a life filled with pressure. It's where you lay down what you were never meant to carry and let God carry you instead. Tonight's meditation isn't about doing it right. It's about receiving the truth that even your unraveling is holy when it happens in the hands of God. It's where T.D. Jakes' words come alive. God doesn't bless who you pretend to be. He blesses who you are, and who you are tonight is not too much, not too tired, not too late. You are exactly where you need to be, because God is already here, near, steady, safe. To let the performance end. Let the lights dim not only in your room but in your soul. Let go of the measuring stick. Release the fear that you haven't done enough. You are not defined by your output. You are defined by His outpouring, and it never stops. Not when you're thriving, not when you're barely hanging on, not when all you can do is whisper, "God, I need you." That whisper is worship. That need is not your liability, it's your lifeline. As your head touches the pillow, say, "God, I don't need to do more. I need to dwell." Then rest, not because the darkness has lifted, but because you are no longer in it alone. You are not forgotten. You are not failing. You are dwelling. And in that sacred stillness, grace begins to breathe again. What habits have led me to equate God's love with my performance? Can I receive rest tonight without guilt? How is God redefining spiritual strength in my life? "And that dwelleth shall abide." Psalm 91:1. He maketh me to lie down. Psalm 23:2. Come unto me, and I will give you rest. Matthew 11:28. As your head touches the pillow, say, "God, I don't need to do more. I need to dwell." Then rest, not because you finished everything, but because you are already fully loved. Come as you are. Come rest. There's a weight that builds over time, an invisible kind of pressure, not from others shouting expectations, but from your own heart whispering, "Don't stop. Don't let them down. Don't fail." It's subtle, sacred even, how deeply you care. But even sacred motives can lead to burnout when carried alone. Maybe tonight you've held that weight for so long that you've forgotten what it feels like to not carry it, the pressure to always be okay, to always keep everything from falling apart. But heaven speaks something different over you now. You were not created for pressure. You were created for peace. Not performance, not perfection, peace. And not the kind that comes from completing everything, but the kind that comes when you finally let go. Psalm 91 doesn't reward perfection, it blesses love. Because he hath set his love upon me, I will deliver him. Not because you did everything right, not because you never grew weary, but because your heart turned toward him, even when it was tired. Even now, as you lie here in the quiet ache of unfinished prayers, unspoken worries, and unmet goals, he chooses you. And Psalm 23 reminds you again, he restoreth my soul. Not he demands more, not he critiques your limitations, he restores. And restoration begins where striving ends. It happens not through effort, but surrender. Not in more doing, but in more trusting. Tonight, let this truth meet you right where you are. God isn't asking you to hold it all together. He's asking you to be held. This night prayer is not a task to complete. It's your invitation to stop carrying what you were never meant to bear, to stop performing for a love that was never based on performance. Let this moment be your holy pause, your sacred stillness, your anointing to sleep. Just as oil was poured over the heads of those set apart, his peace now rests on you, not because of your strength, but because of his love. Let meditation be the space where you say, God, I'm here. That's all I can bring tonight. And watch how he meets you in that whisper, with presence, not pressure. You don't need to fix what's broken tonight. You don't have to replay the conversation. You don't have to have the right words. All you need to do is release. Let go of the outcomes, the control, the constant inner commentary that says you're behind. You are not behind. You are being held, Jakes once said. God isn't trying to wear you out. He's trying to pour into you. And for him to pour, you must be still. So tonight, stop striving. Let stillness speak louder than the noise. Let grace find the corners of your soul you've kept hidden behind duty. Let love reach you in the very place you feel least worthy, and remind you that you are sustained, not by pressure, but by promise. What pressures have I been silently carrying that I haven't brought to God? How is God inviting me to exchange pressure for presence tonight? Can I believe that God moves even when I stop striving? Because he hath set his love upon me, therefore will I deliver him. Psalm 91:14. He restoreth my soul. Psalm 23:3. Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee. Psalm 55:22. Before sleep finds you, whisper this simple prayer: God, I trade this pressure for your peace. Then let the weight fall. Let the striving cease. Let grace wash over your soul like oil. You don't need to hold it all together. You only need to be held. You are safe. You are seen. You are sustained. And tonight, you are anointed to rest. There's a quiet ache that doesn't come from one single blow. It builds over time, accumulated weight, the silent pressure of always being the one who shows up, smiling when you want to cry, choosing calm when your soul wants to scream. And now, deep into the night, it all hits at once. You are not okay. But even that admission is sacred, because in naming your weariness, you make space for grace. Psalm 91 doesn't ask you to fake strength. It offers something deeper: shelter. He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. You've carried so much. But tonight God says, let me be strong for you. Not because you failed, but because you were never meant to carry it all alone. You don't need to pull yourself together. You don't need a new plan. You need restoration. Real, soul-deep restoration that meets you here, not at your best, but at your most broken. Psalm 23 says, He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. Not after you finish the list, not when you feel worthy, but now, in the unraveling. And maybe that unraveling isn't the end of your faith, but the beginning of intimacy. Because it's in this raw, honest place where you find what's been holding you all along, the everlasting arms of God. He doesn't just lead you through the wilderness. He prepares a place for you in it, a bed, a rest, a refuge. My meditation tonight is not about achieving peace. It's about encountering presence. Let the silence be your sanctuary. Let the stillness speak louder than your inner storms. God isn't asking for your performance. He's asking for your permission to be near, to carry, to heal. Dr. Anita Phillips reminds us, healing doesn't start with fixing. It starts with feeling. So feel the ache. Feel the exhaustion. Feel the places where you've been holding it all in. And then feel him. His wings wrapping you in comfort. His staff steadying your trembling heart. His spirit speaking peace over every storm within you. This isn't the time to numb. This is the moment to be known. You've come this far not because of your strength, but because of mercy. And mercy hasn't run out. You are not behind. You are not too much. You are not alone. The pressure is loud, but grace is louder. Grace prepares a bed for you in the wilderness and says, lie down, child. You don't have to carry this anymore. You are not a disappointment. You are not forgotten. You are seen. You are sheltered. You are sustained. Let yourself rest in the place he's already made for you. The burden doesn't have to disappear for you to sleep. It just needs to be transferred into hands big enough to hold the weight and gentle enough to hold you too. What silent expectations have I been living under that God never asked of me? Can I welcome rest without guilt or needing to earn it? How is God drawing near to me in my unraveling? Under his wings shalt thou trust. Psalm 91 verse 4. He restoreth my soul. Psalm 23 verse 3. Come unto me, all ye that labor, and I will give you rest. Matthew 11:28. Close your eyes and whisper, God, I release the weight I was never meant to carry. Then let your body soften, let your mind breathe, let your spirit rest, not because everything is resolved, but because you are no longer the one carrying it. He is, and he's not just carrying your burden. He's carrying you. There are nights when prayer feels like a language your soul forgets how to speak. Not because you've stopped believing, but because the weight you carry has left you too tired to form the words. You've spoken scripture to others, shared truth in their valleys, but now here you are, heart aching, lips still, wondering, does God still hear me when I can't pray? And the answer is yes. Psalm 91 whispers the reassurance your spirit longs to hear. He shall call upon me and I will answer him. And sometimes, calling is nothing more than a tear that slips quietly, a breath that says, God, I'm here. That's enough. Because God isn't waiting for eloquence. He's already moved by honesty. He is near to the brokenhearted, even when their mouths stay closed. There is no shame in your silence, there is sanctuary. And tonight, heaven isn't waiting for your words. Heaven is leaning close, already answering the cries you never spoke aloud. Maybe tonight, the pressure to be strong is finally giving way to weariness. You've poured from an empty cup, smiled through exhaustion, and stretched your soul thinner than you thought possible. But even sacred effort has a breaking point. And God in His mercy never asked you to hold everything together. Psalm 23 offers this invitation. He maketh me to lie down. He restoreth my soul. Not after you've completed the list, not when you've earned stillness, but now, in the weariness, in the unraveling. Restoration doesn't wait for perfection. It begins with presence, with letting go of what's not yours to carry. And tonight, letting go isn't failure, it's faith. It's trust that God moves not when you strive, but when you surrender. His love doesn't require performance. It only invites permission. The permission to stop, to rest, to be held, not by effort but by grace. This night prayer is not a task. It's a sacred pause, a space where silence becomes sanctuary and stillness becomes strength. You don't need to impress heaven. You don't need the right words. You just need to show up with your weariness, your breath, your heart. That's where God meets you. T.D. Jakes once said, when you're too tired to pray, rest in the prayers you've already lived. And that's the invitation tonight. Rest in the seeds you once planted. Rest in the truth you gave to others. Let it return to you now, not as pressure, but as peace. And as you lie there, barely whispering, God, I have no words, but I give you my heart. You are doing holy work. You are surrendering. You are trusting. And that trust is worship in its rawest form. Let the tears come without shame. Let the silence stretch without fear. Let your body soften into the presence that never left. Psalm 91 promises His angels have been given charge over you. Not when you're fearless, but when you're fragile. Not when you're shouting hallelujah, but when your soul is whispering help. God's protection is not performance-based, it's promise-based. And the promise is this: you are not alone. Not tonight, not in this silence, not in this exhaustion. Heaven is not blind to your pain. The Spirit is not deaf to your sighs. The angels are already signed. And grace is not waiting for your strength. It's wrapping itself around your weakness, tucking you in with peace that passes understanding. Have I felt ashamed of being too tired to pray? How is God inviting me to rest in His presence, even without words? What would it mean to believe that my silence is sacred? He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. Psalm 91:5. He maketh me to lie down. He restoreth my soul. Psalm 23, verse 2 through 3. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46, verse 10. Before sleep, whisper, God, I have no words, but I give you my heart. Then rest, not in your strength, but in His sovereignty, not because everything is fixed, but because you are no longer the one carrying it. The weight has shifted, and in its place peace has come. You are heard, you are held, you are still His. And tonight, heaven watches while you sleep. Angels already on assignment. There's a kind of strength the world never celebrates. The strength it takes to stop striving, to unclench your fists, breathe deep, and say, "I'm done." Not in defeat, but in sacred surrender. Maybe tonight that's exactly where you are. Not broken beyond repair, but broken enough to finally let go. You've stood strong for everyone else. You've carried burdens quietly, led faithfully, smiled when your heart was aching. But now, deep into the night, God whispers through the weariness, "Let me be enough for you." Not your effort, not your answers, me. Psalm 91 offers a promise that meets you in this moment. He shall be with thee in trouble. He shall deliver thee and honor thee. His presence doesn't need to be earned. It arrives in your need, not because you're strong, but because you've finally made space for him to carry what was never yours to hold. You've confused faith with control, and control is exhausting. Faith isn't gripping tighter, it's letting go. Psalm 23 reminds you that surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. That includes this one, the quiet one, the tear-stained one, the one where you're too tired to figure anything out. Mercy doesn't wait at the finish line. It walks beside you in your limping, in your silence, in your surrender. Lisa Bevere once said, "God is not impressed with your performance. He is moved by your proximity." You don't have to come with a polished prayer tonight. Just come. Come with your hands open, your heart trembling, your soul laid bare. God doesn't need perfection. He desires presence. He delights not in what you can do, but in who you are to him. This night prayer is your moment to breathe, to fall into divine dependence, not because you're failing, but because you were never meant to hold everything together. You don't need more resolve. You need more rest, more release, more room for God to move where you've tried to manage. You are not too much. You are not too late. You are not disqualified by your weakness. You are seen in it, loved in it, carried through it. Meditation tonight isn't about mastering stillness. It's about letting peace become your protest. Every time you choose rest over rushing, grace over guilt, trust over tension, you're saying God is enough. And that declaration, it's your strength. Your sacred resistance to the lie that you have to keep performing. So tonight, you don't have to pray long prayers. You don't have to fix what feels broken. You just have to lie down, let go, and whisper, "God, I don't need more strength. I need more of you." Let that truth wrap around you like a blanket. Let it silence the storm within. Let it remind you that peace isn't the absence of trouble. It's the presence of God until you get it together. His grace isn't on hold until you get it together. It's rushing into the cracks where you finally stopped pretending. So, breathe. Rest. Not because the situation has changed, but because you are no longer the one carrying it. You were never asked to be enough. You were simply asked to be his, and that has always been enough. Where have I mistaken control for faith in my spiritual walk? What does it mean to let God be enough for me tonight? Can I rest even if my situation hasn't changed? He shall be with thee in trouble and honor thee. Psalm 91:15, surely goodness and mercy shall follow me. Psalm 23:6, my grace is sufficient for thee. 2 Corinthians 12:9, lay your head down tonight and pray. God, I don't need more strength. I need more of you. Then let go. Let silence cradle your thoughts. Let peace fight the battles you no longer need to carry. Let love remind you, you are already enough, because you are already his. Rest now. Grace has you. There comes a moment, often late, often quiet, when your soul whispers what your mind has tried to ignore all day. I can't keep going like this, not with this pressure, not with this exhaustion, not with this unrelenting expectation to be okay. And yet, you move forward, not from peace, but from pattern. You've become skilled at functioning while depleted, masking the ache with motion. But God didn't create you to survive on fumes. He created you to live from fullness. And fullness doesn't come from forcing more, it comes from surrendering more. Tonight, his message is clear and tender. Come as you are. You don't have to be strong, just come. Psalm 91 doesn't offer shelter in exchange for perfection. It promises presence because of proximity. Because he hath known my name, I will be with him in trouble. You know his name. You belong to him. That's enough. You are not meant to sleep only when everything is complete. You are meant to sleep because you are safe, not because the storm has passed, but because you are not the one steering the ship anymore. Psalm 23 ends not in striving, but in sanctuary. I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. And that house is not a far-off heaven, it's the nearness of God that follows you into your weariness, your bedroom, your breaking points. It's the gentle reminder that home is not where everything is perfect, but where you are perfectly known and still perfectly loved. Even now, especially now, in the dark, in the mess, in the stillness, he is your shelter. Tonight's night prayer is not just about comfort, it's about freedom. Freedom from the guilt of unfinished tasks. Freedom from the lie that your value is measured by your productivity. Freedom from the inner critic that demands more when you have nothing left to give. Dr. Anita Phillips reminds us that healing doesn't come by suppressing, it comes by surrendering. You don't have to clean up your heart before inviting God in. He already knows. And still, he draws near. He sits with you in the ache. He doesn't shame your tiredness. He sanctifies it. And with holy tenderness, he whispers what your soul has longed to hear. You're allowed to be tired. You're allowed to stop. You're allowed to need me. Let this night prayer carry you into more than sleep, into restoration, into the grace that doesn't wait for strength, into the peace that exists even in the presence of pain. You don't have to feel spiritual to be loved. You don't have to say the right words to be heard. Just whisper, "I'm here, Lord," and he will meet you in that whisper. Not with demands, but with delight. Not with judgment, but with gentleness. Not with authority, but with gentleness. Rest like Jesus in the storm, not because the waves are gone, but because you're no longer trying to calm them alone. God is already in the boat, and tonight he invites you to rest in his peace, not your perfection. What fear has kept me from truly resting in God's presence? Have I been treating God like a taskmaster instead of a father? What would change if I believed he loves me even when I'm not productive? I will be with him in trouble. Psalm 91 verse 15. I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Psalm 23 verse 6. Casting all your care upon him, for he careth for you. Psalm Peter 5 verse 7. Breathe slowly and say, God, I don't come to you strong. I come to you surrendered. Then let the weight fall, not because life is light, but because you're not lifting it alone. Let your soul lie down in the boat with Jesus, not to escape the storm, but to rest in the one who sleeps through it in peace. You are not behind. You are beloved. You are held. Sleep not in perfection, but in proximity. You've made it to the end of another day, not with triumph, but with trembling. Not because everything went right, but because God stayed near. This day may have brought more questions than answers, more weight than strength, but none of that disqualifies you from his presence. You may feel like you fell short, like you were too much or not enough, but God's message isn't do better tomorrow. It's come to me now. He's not saving his presence for your best moments. He's with you in your quietest, messiest ones. Psalm 91 promises, with long life will I satisfy him and shew him my salvation. Not just survival, satisfaction, and not someday, tonight. You've tried to sleep before, only to be chased by the thoughts you couldn't silence. But tonight, the shepherd enters that room with you. Psalm 23 says, "I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever." That house is not just a promise for eternity, it's an invitation into this very moment. His house is wherever you are fully seen and still fully wanted. You don't need to wait until you've earned rest. Rest is your inheritance as his child. Even now, even with the ache, even with the tension in your chest that won't let you breathe easy, you're still his, and you're already home. This final night prayer isn't a closing, it's a releasing. Release the unspoken apologies, the conversations that wore you thin, the expectations you didn't meet. Let the failures fall into mercy. Let the fear dissolve into trust. You don't need the perfect words, just the truth. God is here. God is enough. I am safe. Lisa Bevere says, "You are not too much. You are not enough. You are exactly right for God." Let that truth wrap around your soul. You're not a disappointment to him. You're his delight. He's not counting your mistakes. He's counting your breaths. And every single one is covered in compassion. So breathe, slow and deep, not to empty yourself, but to fill yourself with the reality that you are deeply loved, eternally safe, and completely held. Even if you never said a single prayer today, even if your faith wavered, even if tomorrow still feels uncertain, this moment, this holy, quiet, surrendered moment is enough. You are enough in it. Not because of your effort, but because of his everlasting love. Let this be your benediction, the sacred exhale. You are not the same person who started this night. You are steadied, covered, anchored, not by your own strength, but by the God who never stopped watching over you. What burden can I release right now as I enter sleep? How has God met me in unexpected ways today? Even in my weakness, can I receive his love without trying to earn it? With long life will I satisfy him. I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Psalm 23:6. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Isaiah 26:3. Before you close your eyes, speak this softly. God, you are enough for me, so I rest in you. Then let peace settle. Let love hold you. Let grace carry you into sleep. The night is not your enemy, it's your sanctuary. You don't have to do anything more. You are already held. You are already home. Sleep, beloved.